And we'll do a little tease of that coming up on overtime. We will get back to the Browns. Mike's got some special game for us at the end of the show involving the Browns. For now, we talk about the Guardians. You mentioned they won 4 or 5. Guys, last week I said when they salvaged that final game of the series in Cleveland against Kansas City after losing the first 3, they went into that last game of the series tied for first. The Royals had the tiebreaker, so technically they were behind. The Guardians were losing the last game of that series. I think it was 5-2 late in the game. And they came back and won. And since that 7th, 8th inning, whenever that comeback happened, it's been totally opposite. The Guardians have played very well. Saturday they were awful. But besides that, they've played very well since then. Meanwhile, Kansas City has not won a game since blowing that lead. Kansas City had to deal with some injuries. They've lost their first baseman. That's been a big deal. Their closer's banged up right now. Minnesota's been kind of middling, but you look at it right now after the Guardians do beat Kansas City in the first of a 3-game set in Kansas City last night, a game they were down early, to have a 3.5-game lead over Minnesota and a 4.5-game lead over Kansas City.
That's wild.
And remember, unlike with Kansas City, now Kansas City has the tiebreaker over the Guardians, but Minnesota does not. Now, they still have a 4-game series, but right now the Guardians have a tiebreaker over Minnesota. There's only, 140, 120, 138, 24 games left in the season for the Guardians. It looked like they were losing this division, guys, but they've kind of righted the ship, and now they seem to be in great shape to win the division.
I think you was right. Me and you, I had agreed with you when you said that winning that last game against Kansas City was big. Jason was the one that was,
he poo-pooed it.
Yeah, he was the grouch on that. He was the Grinch on that one. But,
Shocker.
Yeah. But I think ever since then, I told you they got Kyle Manzardo up. Now, he didn't do nothing last night, but 2 days ago, he had the 2 home runs. It seems like the bats are starting to click.
Lane Thomas is finally heating up.
And the pitching. The pitching is the one, because
been great.
Boyd had a really good game where I texted the group and said he is who we thought Alex Cobb was, and then boom, Alex Cobb comes out
loves
there
giving it to Jason.
Yeah, I do, because Jason acts like he's just this expert, and I'm this
Jason's
casual
an expert.
fan.
He's also super negative about everybody. I mean, he's a Quan hater, right? Is that the deal?
No, he's saying that because I said Quan with his
I jumped into
400.
that conversation.
Well, Tyvus mistakenly tried to make an argument that Quan was going to hit 400 this year.
He was at like
when he was batting
397 at the time.
And so now Jason's got to bust his chops every time his batting average drops.
But Jason's mad because I said the Guardians would be top half in home runs, which where they at?
They
Mike?
still are.
They still are.
Okay.
Barely, but
and now my
are.
next one is that Big Christmas will hit 20 home runs before the end of the year. But anyway,
It looks like he could.
Thank you. You're a smart man. But anyways, the bats have been clicking, and the pitching has just been phenomenal. Like I said, with Boyd, Cobb, even Gavin Williams last game.
He was great yesterday.
Like, that's what I'm saying. They all have been good, and the bullpen has continued to be lights out. So that, to me, was the thing that was missing. Them bats wasn't clicking. Now that they back hitting home runs again and the pitching looks solid, they're going to be hard to beat. And I think that they are starting to catch fire right around the time you want them to catch fire, towards the end of the thing, so you could take that momentum into the playoffs.
They're battle tested. I'll give them credit. When they got to even with the Royals, it could have went one or two ways. They could have said, hey, you know what? We're going to fold up because we're a relatively young team and we've been front runners the whole year. But as I was watching the game yesterday, it dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? I got to give them credit. You know what I'm saying? I got to give them credit for being resilient enough to say, all right, well, look, we haven't been playing good ball. It's ebbs and flows to the game. Now, we were in a slump. Then you look at what Kansas City has been doing the last 6-7 games. They haven't won a game in a long time. So now you've actually extended the lead. I like to have my leads by like 5 games.
So it's a big one tonight.
Yeah, it's you get the one tonight. Listen, I'm feeling great about myself because now I done put some space between me and you ain't playing well right now. Plus, they got the injuries that's coming up, to major pieces of their team. And like Tyvis said, I am excited the fact that Thomas is hitting the ball.
Big home run to give him the lead last night.
Manzardo 2 home runs. I like to see it.
Yeah.
Didn't Josh have one last night?
Yeah. And so for me, Naylor looks like he, home runs is kind of funny because they can be kind of contagious, man.
Yeah.
There's something about seeing the ball go over the fence.
It is.
And Big Christmas. Hey, let's not
You
get
on
it
board?
twisted.
You on the 20 board?
Hey, look, I'm on 20, but who would have known his glove work was okay?
He made a great play.
Great play last
He
night.
Yeah, wasn't he moved pretty well for a big man.
I'm like, man, usually
Yeah.
they got you at DH or first base,
Yeah.
but he's trying to break out of that mold. So, right now, they're trending up. This has nothing to do with the playoffs. I think playoffs is a different beast.
Sure.
And I think sometimes we need to learn to say, okay, this is the regular season. Enjoy the regular season and maximize what you're doing before you start talking about the warts and some of the bad things in the playoffs. But I'm excited about them, Dustin.
So I thought this team early in the year was just going to be like an average team going into the season. They got out to that ridiculous start that gave them the chance to be in this position now to be able to give some back. I think good teams find a way, and maybe this probably goes for any sport, like find a way to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And when they were able to do that and get back on track, I think it showed that they didn't panic. I think Stephen Vogt deserves a lot of credit for keeping the guys engaged and to be able to fight through those tough times. Slumps happen, everybody knows that, but to be able to find a way out of it and to not give back. I mean, you gave back position, but they haven't given it all the way back, and now they're kind of getting back to the point where they can, like you said, maybe get to 5 games up, to give yourself a little cushion here as we approach the final, several games of the year. So I'm just enjoying the ride. I never had any expectations for this team to even be a playoff team, frankly, this year. Because I thought it was sort of, hey, we're rebuilding. We got a lot of unknowns, especially with the pitching starting rotation. So I've been impressed. These are obviously huge series that they have left here. You want to win this division. They should win the division. And, it was a big game, big win yesterday.
Yeah.
They've had their moments, but it's not the same team. The team that was in the slump is not the team that they are. Okay, and they're somewhere in between.
That's fair.
But on the higher end of somewhere in between.
I agree. I think they're not the team they're not as good as a team earlier this year, but they're closer to that than they are to the team that was playing like crap. I think you're right about that. Couple of minor things for the weekend that if you're a diehard baseball nerd like me that I didn't love. Josh Naylor on Saturday. Did any of you guys see the Saturday game by any chance? If you didn't, did you see it? No, Mike, you were too busy partying in Chicago. So Saturday night, the only game the Guardians lost here in the last bunch, they were down 1-0. I don't remember what inning it was. I want to say the 6th or the 7th. And they had first and second.
Oh, I saw when he messed up and tried to go home. Or
I don't know what he was doing. So Lane Thomas hit a deep fly ball to left field.
And the dude caught it off the wall.
Well, he caught it just in front of the wall.
Yeah.
And Josh Naylor's just running home. The ball was caught, and he's out at second by a mile. It makes no sense. In that situation, you always go halfway. And they made excuses for him on the TV broadcast, which was disappointing. He said he couldn't see the ball. There's no, even if you can't see the ball, first of all, you got the third base coach. He's seeing the ball fine. All right? You go halfway on that play. If it hits the wall, I know Josh Naylor's not that fast. He's still scoring if you're halfway between second and third, you're scoring if the ball goes off the wall. If it goes over the wall, you don't have to run.
Yeah.
And if it gets caught, you got to be able to get back. So that was bad. I did not like last night, and I think Stephen Vogt's done a great job. You had Kyle Manzardo in the lineup last night. That's great. In the 8th inning, when his spot in the lineup came up, you're up 2 runs. They brought in a lefty, and so they took Manzardo out and put in Fry. Now, Manzardo is not your best prospect because he can only hit righties. So I understand you're not going to play him against lefties because he's a rookie. Fine. You're up 2 in the 8th inning. The lefty the Royals brought in is a guy who stinks. I can't remember who it was now, but I remember looking at it and it was like, this guy's terrible. Give Manzardo in that situation a chance to face a lefty. You want him to be able to get some experience in the big leagues against lefties. The third thing is really a minor thing, so I'm actually not going to get into it. But overall, Stephen Vogt's done a great job. Be nice if they could win this series in Kansas City, because after this series, you go play 3 games against the Dodgers. Right now, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. Obviously, it's going to be a very challenging series. What's very exciting, if you're just a baseball fan, is you get to watch Shohei Otani on TV for a few days. This man is about to become the first player ever in the history of baseball. He's already done some things that nobody's ever done in baseball history. He's going to become, I think, the first player ever to get 50 homers and 50 steals in the same season.
Where is he at on
never
home
been
runs
done.
right now?
He's got 44 home runs and he's got 46 stolen bases. We've got what? 26.
games,
I don't know exactly how many games they have left, but I think he's going to do it. No, there's only been 6 guys. By the way, Jose Ramirez has got a chance to do 40-40. And there's only been, I think, 6 guys ever that have done a 40-40. But nobody's ever done 50-50. It's crazy.
You know what? I want to shout out the Dodgers because somebody was saying this. Like, yes, Shohei Otani is a great player, and they would talk about him and Travis Hunter, right? They're good and they got God-given ability. But you got to give credit to the people that give them an opportunity to do that. Like, when he had Tommy John surgery, how many organizations were like, no, you ain't stealing nobody's bases.
Good point.
We're not going to have you doing none of that. And instead of them saying, okay, well, look, you can't pitch, like, go out there and show the world your other skill set. And who would have known he was out here running around like Ricky Henderson? like to me, I during the doggone the baseball draft, I was asking all the prospects, like, yo, why don't they give some of these kids, like the kid from Florida or some of these other kids, the opportunity to play both ways? And they're like, nah, Shohei Otani is just one of one. And I get it. You might not be as good as Shohei Otani, but there are some people, if you gave them the opportunity, they could pay some dividends for you.
Yeah, certainly.
Jay Crawford.
That's the fourth Jay Crawford reference.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of pub today. And by the way, Jay is 59, not 60. I was
I
right
was
about
wrong.
that.
My bad.
But yeah, I mean, Otani is just the freak of all freaks.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's crazy.
look at how big he is. He wouldn't look like he'd be that fast, but he stole 3 bases yesterday. I mean, it's absurd. All right, let's move on there, Mikey.
I got one more thing on the Guardians before
yeah.
we move on real quick.
What do you got?
Looking towards the rest of the season, so whatever 20 whatever games it is.
Yeah.
Bigger boost to the Guardians. Cobb and Boyd being, I don't want to call them really good starting pitchers. That's not the right word. But giving them pitching like that consistently, or Manzardo being inserted into the lineup and giving them a little extra pop.
Oh, the Manzardo thing to me, because
they ain't gonna pitch in the playoffs. Right?
Well, one of the two of them will, but only one of Cobb and Boyd will probably pitch in the playoffs, assuming everybody's
Manzardo.
healthy. Manzardo's, lengthening the lineup, especially that, Lane Thomas has a track record. He's been a good player in the majors. He had been terrible since they got him, and all of a sudden he's getting hot. So to me, that's sustainable because the guy's been a good player. If Manzardo can reach his potential and give them some doubles and homers and have some power, now all of a sudden, now you got a good lineup through 7 instead of 5 if those two guys play well, and that can make a huge difference. So to me, it's that.
Yeah, I like his the bats in the lineup, because when you was getting 6 through 10, you had a problem.
Yeah.
Now if you can get somebody that's at the bottom of your order that has some pop, that has some power, that does. I mean, that's a huge win for the Guardians, especially given some of their deficiencies at the plate. So for me, I think it's definitely Manzardo too. And I like what you said. Give him an opportunity, because I need him to get ramped up.
That's right.
Like, I need him to continue in these last 20 games to see a lot of pitches. I don't necessarily want to see him out of the lineup, because I'm counting on his stick when it comes to the playoffs.
Intimidation factor with that mustache too.
It's a porn stash.
It's totally
it's crazy.
People are scared.
Yeah, it is. It does freak people out.
It's
There's no
wild.
doubt about it. That is a quality stash.
We also didn't mention real quick, Gavin Williams made a really good start.
He was fantastic yesterday.
He did.
He
It
gave
came
up
on
that
the
run
eve
early.
of Jason writing the article, by the way. Jason wrote the article about him tipping his fastball. Then he goes out and throws maybe his best start of the
That was definitely his best start of the year. He was dominant. And by the way, I knew they were never going to do it. He had thrown, I think, 96, 97 pitches through 7 innings. I would have started him in the 8th. Let him throw 110 pitches. Let's go. But I knew they wouldn't do it.
This is the Guardians we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I know. Clase gets another save. And
where's he at? Are you voting for him for the Cy Young?
I would not vote for him. As much as I love him, I would not vote for a closer. There would have to be no starter having a great season for me to vote for a closer. It's just not a fair comparison. The starter's pitching 170 innings, 180 innings. The closer's pitching 60 innings.
He gave up a run, too. That was the thing you kept saying, Bull. If he goes,
Clase gave up a run his last
perfect,
appearance. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, but since we last talked.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got an ERA under 1, but like Tarek Skubal has got. You have a 2.60 ERA in the American League as a starter when no other starting pitcher has an ERA under 3. I mean, I don't care that they're in 4th place. They're still a decent team. It's the first time you've had 4 American League Central teams over 500 in forever. I love Clase. I can't say enough good things about him. I just wouldn't vote for him for the Cy Young. I would vote for him second. I think he's going to finish second, but I don't think he's going to win it.
I saw a stat, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
The AL Central is 38 games under 500. 4 of the 5 teams in the division are plus 500. That's
Well,
how
'cause
bad
the White Sox are the worst.
That's how bad the White Sox are.
The White Sox are. You know how many games the White Sox have won since the All-Star break?
2.
Close.
3.
3. 3. The All-Star break ended 6 weeks ago.
That's sad.
Southside stand up.
They said that.
Oh, my
I think
God.
they said that the Guardians won their 31st game in May.
Yeah.
And they just won their 31st game like a couple days ago.
It's hard to be that
No,
bad.
I don't think so. I think they've lost 10 in a row, didn't they?
Did they?
I think so. Unless they,
The White Sox have lost 11 in a row.
11 in a row.
It is
my
that
gosh.
hard. It's hard to lose that many games
It's
in
the
baseball.
worst team I've ever
Bro,
seen.
can you imagine being in that clubhouse?
Oh, my God.
You count the days down. It's like let's.
You know who their manager is now,
Grady
right?
Sizemore.
Grady Sizemore.
Grady.
Bull,
They still paying him $14 an hour?
Bull, to test your baseball knowledge real
Yeah.
quick. The second worst run differential in the American League is the Angels minus 127.
Yeah.
What do you think the White Sox is?
I know it's like minus 270, something like that.
Any higher, lower? G, is he too low at that or too high on that? Minus 270.
I think he's too low. I think it's like minus 242.
Dustin?
Nah, I mean, how about 250?
Right.
$1 Bob.
Right.
$1.
Man, you dirty.
$1.
Prices right.
Travis, what say you?
Gougers.
$1.
Yeah. What is it?
Minus
$1,
301.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Bull
It's even
went.
worse than I
Not
remember.
even, not even.
Dang.
Yeah, so the record for most losses in a Major League Baseball season is 120. The expansion 1962 Mets played 160 games that year. They went 40 and 120. So the White Sox are what? 31 and what?
108.
There's no way they're winning 9 more games. No chance.
And it's
They've
baseball.
won 2 since the All-Star break.
3.
You can trip
Three.
into a win in baseball.
Right.
You can accidentally
It
bloop
should be
a
impossible
single.
to be this bad.
It should. Like,
It should be. I mean, it's crazy. They are bereft of talent.
How are those guys collecting checks? Like, do they feel bad, like going to bed at
oh
night?
yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no.
Oh, yeah.
That money's still spent.
Oh, yeah.
What you talking
Listen,
about?
hey,
It's
I
got to
would-
be like the
yeah.
like the movie Major League inside the clubhouse.
Oh yeah, like before they turned it around.
Guys got
yeah.
to be just like totally 1 foot in the parking
Oh, my
lot.
God.
Just
They
get
can't
this
wait for the
season
season to
over.
be
Oh
over.
my God!
We went
yeah.
1-10 my freshman year. I had seniors on the bus. We went to Buffalo and got blew out. You know, this is early 2000 Buffalo. We went there and got blew out, and it was seniors on the bus.
Was that November too?
Yeah, it December in Buffalo.
That was just misery.
It was misery.
It was probably like a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust.
Oh my gosh, they kept us on the trip just to
What was
play.
the score? Like blow?
41-0.
Oh no, I ain't never been a part
And
of
then they
that.
took
like
us to
that.
then they took us to Texas Roadhouse, so we couldn't get back for Halloween.
I ain't never been.
They're
a
like,
part of
yeah, you
that.
guys are not going to party. You screwed us, we're going to screw you.
All right, Mike's got a new game
got
for us
some good
now.